Welcome back to the Gala Performance MR2 Championship. Now this part of the season marks a very important milestone in the championship history. It's been 10 years since its conception and it all started here at the home of British motorsport, Silverstone. Now there's just been a torrential downpour, the track is greasy, it should be interesting, but a person who's won the championship twice is Sean Trainer. Sean, double champion. You know what it's like to win. It all started here 10 years ago at Silverstone. You're starting first on the grid. Where can you go from there? Ben Rowe's leading the championship. It's going to be a tricky one.
Yeah, it is. It's conditions are going to be different to what we had in quali, so hopefully everyone sort of tiptoes around a little bit in the first few laps and we don't end up with a bit of a mess on the first corner. But we tested here Friday and Hangar Straight was holding a lot of water, so hopefully we don't get that much water because we were sort of aquaplaning on the straight, which it wasn't fun for anyone. So, I mean, I like a bit of rain, but not quite that much.
And you've won it twice. You've seen the championship evolve from strength to strength. How proud are you to be part of it?
It's brilliant. Like, I've never raced in anything else, so it's I haven't really got anything to compare it against, but I'm not looking at going anywhere else, so I think that speaks for itself.
Is there a win on the cards for you here?
I'm hoping, that's the plan. It just depends on the start. As long as we can sort of get enough grip off the start, then I think I've got the pace. So, but I'll let you know after this one.
Good luck.
All right, cheers.
Cheers. So with that, let's see how Sean gets on. I'll hand you over to our race commentator, Andy McEwen.
Thanks, Anthony. Well, this should be very entertaining indeed. A greasy track, but lots of places to overtake for the MR2s, who are headed by Sean Trainer and Ben Rowe on row one. The top two in the championship ahead of Stuart Nichols and Darren Aldworth, Tim Herron and Josh Brooks, with Mick Nichols, Peter Higton, Paul Cook and Jim Davis, all potential front runners, rounding out the top 10. It is a mammoth 39-car grid, but because of the slightly larger capacity for the grid here at Silverstone, there is no need to split the grid, so we just have two straight-up races, everyone on track at once. This could get very, very busy indeed. So Sean Trainer then took the pole position by by 1/10 of a second, over his championship rival Ben Rowe. Ben is 36 points ahead of him in the championship. Will that be the same after this race? Well, let's find out, because the lights go out. We're away and racing at Silverstone. We're on board with Paul Cook looking backwards. Now we're on board with Paul Cook looking forwards. Car number 26 as they rush towards turn number 1, but it's Trainer that leads the way. Rowe's second. Stuart Nichols looks to have slotted through into third, so same as you were on the grid up at the front of the field. Some of the Mark 1 cars going through, back up towards the top of the hill we go up at Village. Hard on the brakes now. Josh Brooks there, the grey and pink car, trying to go around the outside. And remember, in the damp and greasy conditions, the wet line, the grippy line in the wet, is often right around the edge of the track, not on the traditional sort of apexes of the corners where you'd usually see the drivers run. And you can see there a few drivers getting out of shape. That's very sideways indeed, right in front of Paul Cook. That was the number 5 car getting out of shape, as that was Tim Herron, who got his first ever win in the championship back at Mallory Park earlier on this season. On board with Mick Nichols there as well, but the leading 5 cars making a bit of a break. Mick Nichols has the 46 machine up the inside of him. That's Matthew Smith coming through from 13th on the grid. But as they make their way down towards the end of the Hangar Straight into Stowe Corner, there is Tim Herron, the blue number 5 car, just about hanging on to position ahead of Jim Davis there, and just behind the yellow and grey car of Paul Cook. Leaders side by side though, and here comes Ben Rowe with the first real challenge to try and find a way ahead of Sean Trainer. He can't do it around the outside of Vale, but he's looking to try and set himself up for a better exit through the middle part of Club, which he gets up the inside line. Both drivers squirreling around trying to find some grip, but it will be Ben Rowe that gets the lead out of Club Corner and will lead them across the line at the end of the opening lap. Sean Trainer second, third position, we're on board with him now, the 89 car of Stuart Nichols. Both Stuart and Mick Nichols qualifying inside the top 10 for this race, as they work their way back through Abbey again. Remember, 13 minutes plus 1 lap, the length of all of the Toyota MR2 races this season. With Paul Cook as the leaders once again go at it, and Sean Trainer tries to come straight back up the inside of Ben Rowe at Village. Where's the grip going to be? Surely with Rowe on the outside line, which it is. As they come out of the corner, it is Ben Rowe that holds on to the race lead. On board with Stuart Nichols, who's in the newer car, the Class C car, trying to go with them and achieving that at the moment. Sideways in the background there, cars getting out of shape left, right and centre. Paul Cook is way wide over the curb coming out of the link. That is not a place where you often see drivers running quite that wide off the circuit. contact at the front though. Look at Stuart Nichols. He is starting now to apply the pressure to Sean Traynor, and this in turn will allow Ben Rowe potentially to escape. And if he wins this race, further extend his championship lead. There is Stuart Nichols in the 3rd position. Stuart Nichols hasn't been at the sharp end in every race this year. He's up there and he's got a chance to fight for the victory. He will go for it. You can see him there gesticulating at the car in front. Now, whether or not Sean Traynor saw that, I'm not too sure. But what he's saying there is, I'm not going to attack you. You don't need to defend. For the time being, let's work together, see if we can both go after Ben Rowe. If we keep tripping over each other, Ben's going to escape. And, well, if the message gets through to Sean Traynor, Sean will know that he doesn't have to defend. And then he, in turn, can just try and go as quickly as he can. But he's had a really good exit from Club Corner. Ironically, the part of the circuit where he lost the lead a lap ago. And so as we come through to complete the 2nd lap of the race, it is Rowe from Traynor by a car's length, if that. And in fact, they're getting away again now from Stuart Nichols in 3rd position slightly. The Class C car having slightly different areas where it's strong compared to the Class B cars around it, which are a little bit heavier, maybe have a bit more stability in these conditions. Back down towards Village. Sean Traynor sticking with Ben Rowe here. The slippery conditions certainly not diluting the quality of the racing that we're always provided by the Gala Performance Toyota MR2 Championship. And Traynor goes up the inside down at the bottom of the hill. That's a really, really brave move. But Rowe is going to have the grippier side of the road on the exit, and this could really play into the hands of the chasing Stuart Nichols, who gets in the tow. Traynor immediately moves over to defend, but this time I think Stuart Nichols might go for it because he's got enough momentum to get fully alongside, and in theory he should have the grippier line in towards Stowe. Let's see how this one plays out. Nichols on the outside, Traynor on the inside line, and Nichols is going to try the high, wide and handsome sweep through Stowe to get the inside line down towards Vale, but Sean Traynor's leaving him absolutely no room on the exit of the corner. They both run out over the curb, and Traynor hangs on to the position, but look at what 1 corner's worth of defensive driving does for the lead there for Ben Rowe, because Sean Traynor now has to try and really work hard to close back in, and Stuart Nichols working even harder to stay with them. Someone battling here going on a bit further down the order, and a few drivers, Chris Thomas in particular, the blue, white, fluorescent yellow car at the back of this group that you would maybe expect to see a bit further up the order. The rogue car is Sam Harper, number 18, just in front of him, and then Pete Seeley, I think that was in front of them. Leaders through, Rowe from Traynor, from Nichols, the top 3. 4th position then is Paul Cook, so Paul Cook's got himself up ahead of quite a few drivers actually. Darren Aldworth starting to drop down the order slightly in the blue car that qualified 4th. Stuart Nichols gets very out of shape, and he's off the road. Stuart Nichols is off, coming through the left-hander at Village. Going to lose the car, is he? Does a great job to save it. Can he stop for Village? Yes, he can, and miraculously only loses 1 position. He might lose another one now, maybe to Darren Aldworth. No, he holds onto that place as well, so Aldworth stays in 5th. Stuart Nichols drops down to 4th. That was nearly an awful lot worse for him there. He's handed that 3rd place over to the charging Paul Cook, though, who only qualified 9th in qualifying earlier on this morning, but he's really racing well. He's up into the 3rd place now. Nichols down to 4th, 5th place is Aldworth, 6th is Josh Brooks, and then the battle still fanning out, 3 abreast now down towards Stowe Corner, with Jim Davis looking to the outside there. Couldn't quite get alongside the 2 leaders, but Ben Rowe gets very sideways indeed, and Davis almost saw the chance to nip up the inside. And now, of course, for Ben Rowe, he's in this really difficult position of trying to attack and defend at the same time, and he's not going to be able to apply quite the same level of pressure to Sean Traynor as he has been, so this might actually work out in the favour of the race leader. But he's all over the place again through Vale, really struggling for rear end grip, and this time, I thought Ben Rowe might have got up the inside line. It's going to be the 3rd place man, though, who is going to be fired out of Club Corner like a bullet out of a gun. He's going to carry so much speed onto the pit straight that he'll have a great run surely down towards Abbey Corner, which he does. He thinks about going to the inside line, does Jim Davis, then goes back to the outside. Ben Rowe covers the middle ground. There's almost contact again between himself and Sean Traynor, who is sideways. Paul Cook is now well and truly part of this as well. 4 cars for the race leads, slipping and skating their way up through Farm and in towards the braking zone at Village. Cook up the inside, going for 3rd place now. Almost loses the rear of the car. He goes straight on. Oh no! Paul Cook into the side of Jim Davis, and around he goes. Davis has to take to the runoff area to avoid even further contact, and they will both rejoin, having lost quite a bit of ground, particularly Paul Cook. We saw that when he got onto the brake pad, he will actually get on track in front of Davis, who possibly, I fear, has some damage, or maybe is just waiting for a gap in the traffic to rejoin. But we saw that we were riding on board with Paul Cook. As he first hit the brakes and tried to change down the gears, he locked the rear brakes up, and that snapped the car sideways. He had to get off the brakes to save it, and that meant that he couldn't make the corner. But unfortunately, he'd already committed to the overtake. Davis was already there on the left-hand side, and contact was inevitable. Speaking of contact, oh, there's more between the leaders. Oh, and they're off. Ben Rowe and Sean Traynor, the top two in the race, the top two in the championship. They're both off the road, and miraculously, Sean Traynor gets going again. That's about the 4th or 5th time these two have made contact in this race, and it's Traynor who comes off the better marginally. But is there damage to that car? Ben Rowe is still, as far as I'm aware, pointing the wrong way, and this could be disastrous for Ben Rowe's championship lead. All of a sudden, that 36-point cushion starts to look an awful lot less secure. And look at the timing of it as well, because we go on to the final lap of the race with Sean Traynor now in front. Where is Ben Rowe? I can't see him in the lead, half a dozen or so. So Traynor could be about to take some big points out of his championship rival. The car looked like it was squirming around through Vale and Club, but then it has been all race long, really. I'm not convinced that's damage. I think that's just the fact that the car is really struggling with the conditions, as all of them are in fairness. But Sean Traynor looks as though, as long as he can bring this home now as a race winner, he's going to take a 5th win of the year and really do some damage to Ben Rowe's championship lead. Well, Rowe was trying that outside, in theory, grippier line at Stowe, but as they came off the corner, he ended up running over the curbs, which are like ice in the wet. He spun the car, and unfortunately, well, in the end, very fortunate Sean Traynor was collected, but that he could have been a very unfortunate Sean Traynor if he'd have sustained serious damage there. Down towards Stowe they come for the final time then, and the battle-scarred number 27 car of Sean Traynor, the former champion, looks as though he's going to get one step closer to the championship lead in the 2018 season as well, in a dramatic first race of the weekend for the Gala Performance Toyota MR2 Championship. Sean Traynor drops down towards Vale and Club for the last time of asking. These have been his bogey corners to an extent over the course of the race, but he withstood the pressure. He survived the late contact with Ben Rowe, and he's going to come out of Club Corner and to the checkered flag, a race winner for the 5th time this season. Race victory goes to Sean Traynor. Stuart Nichols, will come home in 2nd position. 3rd place will go to Darren Aldworth, who really picked his way nicely back up the order in that one. Josh Brooks will be 4th and Paul Cook 5th, but it's Traynor that takes the victory. Now, where is Ben Rowe? 11th. We've got Ben Rowe at the line, so that's really not done his championship hopes any good at all. Traynor wins from Nichols, Aldworth, Brooks and Cook, with Matthew Smith 6th, Tim Herron 7th, ahead of Will Powell, Mick Nichols 9th and Jim Davis, who dropped down into 10th place after that contact with Cook. There is Ben Rowe in 11th, ahead of a winner Chris Thomas from earlier on in the year. Peter Higton, Pete Seeley and Jonathan Grimes round out the top 15. Sean Traynor also took the fastest lap in that race, so in theory it was a perfect race. He started on pole, he won and he set the fastest lap, but that was nowhere near as easy as that makes it sound. That was a very dramatic race. It was even more dramatic though for Paul Lorry and Neil Stratton, who are the only two drivers who failed to make the finish.
I spoke to you before the race. You wanted the win. It wasn't that easy, though, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was far from easy. I just didn't have the pace in a straight line. So I was defending every time we got on a straight. I was defending from Ben, and I was sort of probably making it the widest MR2 I could. And that went on until I think just before the final lap, when I think from what Ben just said, he got his rear wheel onto one of the curbs and it's flicked round, and then next thing we know, we're both facing the wrong way. Luckily, I spun around the right, back into the right direction and didn't lose any places, but yeah, it was quite hairy.
The torrential rain just before that race as well, did that make much difference?
Yeah, I don't know if it made this. I mean, it was very slippy for me. I don't know if it was just I had the wrong pressures or what, or everyone else had the same issues, but I just didn't seem to be able to carry the speed through the corners. You know, we tested it Friday and it didn't seem that slippy, so maybe I need to have a closer look at the setup.
And it's the 10-year anniversary for the MR2 Championship, so to come away with a win, you've got to be happy, you've got to be proud.
Oh yeah, I'm proper happy, yeah. I need every point I can get at the moment. But I'm looking at how quick the lads were behind us. I don't think we'll be starting from pole the next time. I think there's some faster cars out there, so I'll have to see where I've ended up.
What a fantastic opening race we've had here at Silverstone for the 10th anniversary of the Gala Performance MR2 Championship. I'm joined by Championship Coordinator Patrick Mortell. We're here at a Toyota supply stand. We've got every mark of the MR2s, Gala Performance stand behind us. How proud are you to be involved with this championship?
Really proud. I mean, 10 years is a good time. It's a healthy time for any championship, and to survive as long as we have and with the numbers that we've have, and to be going stronger now than we've ever been is fantastic.
We've got race 2 coming up. Who's your money on?
I really don't know. The order for race 2 is set on the fastest qualifying time in race 1, so that's shaking the order up again. And I know some of the guys that were running towards the front of that race are now starting at the front of the next one. So I don't know. I don't want to put my money down at this point, but we'll see.
It's going to be interesting nonetheless.
Thank you.
It's brilliant. So with that, I'll hand you up to our commentary team and Andy McEwen for race 2.
Thanks, Anthony. Well, much better conditions for race number 2, I'm glad to report, and a grid set by the fastest laps in the first race means there's an element of shuffling on it. Sean Traynor, our race 1 winner, with Paul Cook on the front row, ahead of Chris Thomas and Jim Davis. Then Josh Brooks, Shane Mansbridge, Ben Rowe, 7th on the grid, having finished 11th in the previous race after that dramatic penultimate lap contact that he had with his big rival. So this is going to be an interesting race. Really, Ben Rowe needs to try and get up there and beat Sean Traynor in this one to undo the damage done to his championship lead after race 1. So the cars are lined up on the grid. The red lights are about to come on. It's Paul Cook on the, Sean Traynor on the outside of row 1 on pole position, the white and blue car. The yellow and grey car on the inside is Paul Cook, who had that spin after contact with Jim Davis, remember, which put them both down the order again towards the end of race 1. The lights go out, we're away and racing for the second and final time here at Silverstone, and the rush towards Abbey Corner begins with Sean Traynor, I think, with his nose in front. Can Paul Cook fight through on the inside? They're wheel to wheel, but I think Traynor had it as the rest of the field streamed through. What a magnificent sight they make. 39 Toyota MR2s out on track across the 3 classes. This is a really fitting anniversary celebration. What has become one of the most popular championships in UK motorsport. Josh Brooks there being elbowed a bit wide by Chris Thomas, who didn't qualify too well for race 1, which explains why he ended up finishing some way down further down the order than you'd expect from the previous race winner. But this time around, qualifying 3rd on the grid was Chris, so he should be able to have a better shot at running towards the front. Qualifying took place in conditions much like these, dry but cool, whereas of course race 1 was wet, so we may well see a bit more of a return to the usual running order in this one, where Paul Cook is attacking around the outside of Sean Traynor for the lead at Stowe. Then this fight for 3rd place, Chris Thomas and Josh Brooks side by side again, and Josh Brooks runs way wide. Jim Davis goes out wide with him, I think that was as well, but Brooks should be able to hang on, or they're still side by side, and in fact no, it is Thomas that hangs on to the 3rd place. So Thomas into 3rd, and into the race lead goes Paul Cook. Look, Sean Traynor, I think, locked up and ran wide down at Vale, and so Paul Cook has gone through, and that could be a really timely move. Let's see if Paul Cook can now escape at the head of the field, or whether Sean Traynor can get back at him. There's Ben Rowe, so Ben Rowe coming through 5th at the end of the opening lap, so he's gained 2 places already. We're on board now with Stuart Nichols. Up the inside line comes Tim Herron towards Abbey Corner, and at the first time through here at full speed, Tim Herron is a very brave man to try and get up the inside line. That's exactly what he does. He slides his way through. Stuart Nichols tries to come back at him though, as they go up towards the hairpin at Village, which is where the leaders find themselves almost side by side again. Paul Cook still hanging on though. Sean Traynor applying the pressure just as he did to Ben Rowe in the first race, and forced the mistake out of him. Of course, it was late contact whilst Traynor was the one under pressure that in the end sealed the race result in Sean's favour. He's got a good exit there from the link. He's up the inside of Cook down the Hanger Straight, and I think he's about to go back through. Drag race down the longest straight on the circuit, but of course these cars are all identical, all prepared to identical regulations, so there really is very little to choose in performance between them. Traynor it is on the inside line in the end, he uses that to go through, so Traynor takes the race lead. Cook drops down into 2nd position again, but with the slipstreaming nature of the racing around this high-speed circuit, it's highly unlikely that that is going to be how it stays for the rest of the race. Paul Cook is already thinking about coming up the inside down at Vale. Doing more than thinking about going through is Josh Brooks. He went to the outside of Chris Thomas there at the left-hander, but ran too deep into the corner, and so Ben Rowe took full advantage, and the black and gold number 3 car, championship leader still, but by a reduced margin after race 1. He's through into 4th position now. He's already in fact onto the tail of the 3rd place man Chris Thomas, who goes almost into the pit wall down the pit straight there to defend into Abbey Corner. Watch for Rowe to take a bit more speed out of the corner. Look at that, chops back to the late apex, carries the momentum up the hill. Where's Chris Thomas gone? He ran very wide then over the curbs, but he's just about held on to the 3rd place for now. He again defends to the inside. This is holding Ben Rowe up and allowing Josh Brooks the chance to get back up the inside of him, and Brooks goes for it, tries to take 4th place away, runs right out to the edge of the road, which tells me that he's made the move stick, which he sort of has. Actually, no, he hasn't. Ben Rowe stays in front, so look there as though Brooks had gone through. And now Josh Brooks is very sideways again at the bottom of the hill, and that almost sent him off the road altogether. So Josh Brooks, always entertaining to watch, and it's no different here at Silverstone, where he continues to be as spectacular as ever. It's Dave Hemingway gaining a position there. Those two have been dicing away all race long. I think they're running a little bit further behind Adam Lockwood. Yes, they are. They're fighting for podium positions, but not quite the race lead. As for third place, oh, there's contact. Paul Cook and Ben Rowe get into each other. Jim Davis involved in that as well. And for the second race in a row, Paul Cook finds himself pointing the wrong way. This time, though, he was absolutely the innocent bystander. He was just sandwiched in the middle there. There was just no room for everybody to go. He was being attacked by Ben Rowe, who in turn was being attacked by Jim Davis behind. He can see the back markers starting to loom, and this can always change the complexion of a race. When you start catching the slower traffic, they themselves are having their own battles, often for a pretty decent position within their own class, and it's all too easy for them to just completely forget about the leaders arriving on the scene, or just not notice it at all, and that can really start to delay the quicker runners. Well, let's see how this one works out, because there are 4 cars doing battle, and right in amongst them now is Sean Traynor. Dives to the inside, down towards the right-hander now. These two, Ben Rowe and Jim Davis, should catch the back markers in a straight line down the Hanger Straight, so that might in a way hold them up slightly less. This could start to bring the lead gap down, but if Rowe and Davis are going to do anything about the leader Sean Traynor, they're going to have to do it quickly. Down the back straight they go. You can see they pull to the right hand side. They just had more momentum onto the straight, and they're able to pass these cars, which are a bit quicker in a straight line anyway, because they're Class A and Class C cars. The Class B cars by far the quickest cars, not by far, but they are the quickest cars through the speed traps, but then through the corners maybe the slightly lighter Class A and C cars have the advantage. So in a straight line, they're able to get past the back markers without too much fuss. It has to be said, though, that Sean Traynor didn't lose a huge amount of time. He lost a little, maybe, to the 2 cars behind. He's flicked the headlights back down again. Of course, one of the unique factors here in MR2 racing is that particularly on these Class B cars, the headlights actually pop up out of the bonnet, and so that adds extra sort of drag when they're out. So as soon as you're clear of the traffic, you need to switch the headlights off, because they do slow you down slightly. And around a power circuit like this, every mile an hour makes a difference. So Sean Traynor out of Abbey Corner, up towards Village for what will be the final time. And it looks as though it's going to be a double race victory. He won't take quite as many points out of Ben Rowe in this race by the looks of it, with Ben looking set for a podium finish, possibly even as good as second place, but he's going to take a few more out of him, and it looks as though this championship is going to continue to tighten up as we get further and further through the year. By my reckoning, we're looking at about a 14-point advantage now for Ben Rowe, if things finish as they are now. Underneath the bridge they go, down the Hanger Straight for the final time. The headlights are back on again for Sean Traynor. One headlight is on for Ben Rowe, but with all of the bashes that car has had this weekend, the other one seems to have sustained a little bit of damage, won't come out, but he shouldn't catch the back markers, I don't think, before the end of the race. In fact, it's doubtful in a way that Sean Traynor will, because he's coming down into the last 2 corners now. The singular back marker, in his view, is some way up the road, and it looks as though it will not present a major challenge for him, although actually the number 49 car of David Rowe, that is, just about stays out of the way, but he did have to overtake him before he got to the line. Oh, and in fact, he's still trying to overtake him coming out of the final corner, but Sean Traynor does go through, and he will win both of the races here at Silverstone. That is his 3rd double-header victory this year. He's won 2 out of 2 at Rockingham, Cadwell Park, and now Silverstone as well. Ben Rowe in second place, but the championship lead is now closer than it's been for an awfully long time. Confirmation of the result then. Traynor with the victory. Ben Rowe in second position. Jim Davis is third, with Chris Thomas, Paul Cook, Josh Brooks, Tim Herron, Shane Mansbridge, Darren Aldworth, and Stuart Nichols rounding out the top 10. Just outside the top 10 were Peter Higton, Pete Seeley, Jonathan Grimes, Neil Hurren, and Sam Harper. The class winners, Sean Traynor, of course, wins Class B, Stuart Nichols wins in Class C, and it's another double victory in Class A for Adam Lockwood. We had 3 non-finishers from that race. Matthew Smith, unfortunately, on the 6th lap of the race. Will Powell managed 1 lap before pulling into retirement, whilst Mick Nichols was a starter, but never made it round to the end of the first lap. Patrick Stoner, Paul Lorry, and Scott Hughes all excluded from the result for overtaking under the yellow flag.
Sean Traynor, 2 out of 2 on the 10th anniversary. Congratulations, well done.
Cheers. Yeah, it's been hard work out there, but Cookie took it right to me for the first few laps. We made a bit of a break, but it still wasn't. We weren't we got away a little bit, and then they started coming back, and it's sort of, do you carry on battling, or do you sort of say, come on, let's go on and let's just battle for the last lap? And I think we'd almost made that choice to let's get away a bit, and then something happened behind. I'm not sure. I see Paul going round. Someone just said there might have been a bit of contact there, but I didn't see what had happened. So I'm sure I'll find out when I get back in the paddock.
I'm sure you will, but you keep your head down and continue. You got to win. Well done.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks very much.